Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. Okay, I'm still adjusting my computer. All right. How's everyone's weekend so far? Good? Good? Okay. Um White feather bird crashing into mountains. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about the again another impossible topic, right? Xi Jinping's health. How is his health? We're going to first talk about why some of his top health officials are in trouble. Then we're going to talk about the rumors of his health problems. Last but not least, we'll talk about who his physicians are or who his physician is, because I'm going to talk about one person. All right, let's get started. So, Xi Jinping's health has been the subject of rumors and speculations even before he became the CCP leader. Before the 18th Party Congress in 2012, there were rumors that he had undergone surgery for for a liver tumor um, after not appearing in public for 12 consecutive days. And then last summer, before the summer retreat at Beidaihe, which was a crucial time when different factions within the party were trying to iron out their differences between the party congress in fall. So at that time, news about Xi Jinping suffering from a brain aneurysm was released in the foreign press. I think it was first released by a British newspaper. Now, similar claims had gone viral as early as 2020. So these claims were later dropped as they couldn't really be substantiated because we didn't see much evidence, although you can never say that he did not suffer from these. But they were, for the most part, dropped by people who follow CCP politics. But it shows that how Xi Jinping's health has been weaponized in the ugly business of CCP power struggles by his political opponents. So, like all other CCP leaders before him, he guards his health as top state secret. This makes the Chinese people and the rest of the world ever more interested. And it's not a matter of gossip, but a major variable in Chinese politics and a major factor in geopolitics. This variable is more important now that Xi Jinping has consolidated more power and become a supersized dictator who is also a micromanager, putting himself in charge of almost every aspect of the party and the government. His lack of a successor makes his supporters and enemies all the more concerned with his physical and mental health. After the former premier Li Keqiang suddenly died from allegedly heart attack at age of 68, the question about Xi Jinping's health is becoming a top concern among Beijing's power circles. According to an Epoch Times source within the PLA, the anti-Xi Jinping forces in Beijing are trying to establish a successor for him after Li Keqiang's death. Although these claims or this claim cannot be substantiated or verified, one can imagine how Xi Jinping's opponents can use his age and health against him. Therefore, Xi must prove that he's in good health. But at age 70, it's inevitable that he has developed some health issues, like most people his age, most people in his age group. But his is a top state secret. I think other than his direct family and his doctors and himself, very few people in the world actually know the real truth about his health. So I'm not trying to make any conclusions about his health or lack of health. But what I'm trying to do, I have gathered, I think, everything that I have found related to his health and kind of organize them in a meaningful and logical fashion to present what I have found to you in a logical manner. But I'm not here trying to make any conclusions about his health or the lack of. So let's first talk about the unusual circumstances surrounding a number of officials whose troubles may be related to his health. This is according to a video compiled in mid-September on social media. Around that time, on Chinese language social media, all of a sudden, I mean, outside China, of course, people were all of a sudden talking about his health. It wasn't at the time. I felt like they were still lacking good evidence, so I didn't tell you about them. But now I think it's worth, at least it's worth mentioning. So on August 22nd, the internet was circulating news that the director of National Health Commission, Ma Xiaowei, was taken away for investigation because he had disclosed Xi Jinping's health problems, I should say, to other party elders when visiting them at the hospital. Now, Ma manages the Central Health Bureau, which is the very organization that manages the healthcare of top leaders, including Xi Jinping, the very top leaders. So it's similar to the Central Security Bureau, which takes care of their security. Central Healthcare Bureau manages their health issues. People linked Ma's detainment or suspected or alleged detainment to Xi Jinping's missing the speech in South Africa because they suspected that he suffered a health problem and therefore missed the speech, because both happened on August 22nd. Right? He arrived in South Africa on the 21st, and the speech was supposed to be on the 22nd. And Ma was, the information, the rumor about Ma's being taken away also happened on the 22nd. So, of course, this cannot be verified. And a week later, Ma reappeared in a press statement released by the National Health Commission on August 29th in an attempt to dispel the rumor. Another director at the NHC wasn't so lucky, and this was Yu Luming, who's the director of the Beijing branch of the National Health Commission. Right, the other guy is the is the director of the national, the overall commission, and this guy is just head of the Beijing branch. He was suddenly detained in 2022. As the highest-ranking public health official in Beijing, he was in charge of the Beijing one hospital called the Beijing Traditional Chinese Medicine Hospital, which is located 3 kilometers, which is 2 miles, less than 2 miles from Zhongnanhai. Now, Xi Jinping and his mother are both great believers in traditional Chinese medicine, and he was said to have visited this hospital. Yu Luming's sudden downfall was shocking because he is a diehard follower of Xi Jinping. He was later tried and given an 11-year prison term due to corruption. But rumors started to spread in September this year that his real crime may be linked to leaking Xi Jinping's health information. All right, I need to take a sip of water. Okay. All right, I feel better. The next, actually, I have pictures of these guys. Here you go. This is Ma Xiaowei, the director of the National Health Commission, and this guy is also responsible for the Central Healthcare Bureau, the agency that manages the top leaders' healthcare. That's this guy, and this is Yu Luming, the Beijing branch of that. The head of the Beijing branch of that commission, who was given an 11-year sentence last year for allegedly corruption. Now let's talk about the next person. The next person, you've heard of him. I have mentioned him a couple of times. This is the former head of the Central Security Bureau, Wang Shaojun, who died in April, but his death was announced 3 months later in July. Wang was in his 60s when he died. When his death was announced, most China analysts found his death very suspicious. So again, in September, people suspect that his death is linked to a careless disclosure of information about Xi Jinping's health. His agency, the Central Security Bureau, does have the partial responsibility of ensuring the health of top leaders. Now, the fourth person is the former chairman of Maotai Group. Maotai is the most famous Chinese liquor, and it's Xi Jinping's favorite liquor. It's 100 proof hard liquor. And the former chairman was given the former chairman was given a life sentence for corruption in 2021. And his entire wealth was confiscated. But he died in prison this September due to brain hemorrhage. Now, news about his death went viral in China, and people again were suspicious of the real cause of his death. Some people hold the view that he has revealed too much information about Xi Jinping's drinking habit. Also, when he died, he was in his 60s. Okay, so these are just some information that came out in September. There are more, but some of the other ones, I don't find them to be very they're not as credible, so I left some of them out. But these are just some of the information about health officials, or in this case, he's a private businessman, whose troubles might be related to the top leader's health. Now, let's talk about past Xi Jinping's, the rumors of his health problems. Well, the Chinese aren't the only ones interested in Xi Jinping's health rumors. Western media has been reporting on his health problems or concerns as early as 2019, when Xi Jinping visited France, Italy, and Morocco, and was it France, Italy, Morocco? There may be other countries, at least these three countries. That was in March 2019. His unusually slow gait was the subject of media attention. He appeared to be walking with a slight limp. And at a meeting with the French president, Emmanuel Macron, he gripped both arms on the chair to support himself as he sat down. Now, all of this was captured in a video compiled by Radio Free Asia. So I'm going to show you that video that kind of highlights his trip in 2019. So let me try to find that page. Where did that page go? Okay. I need to share screen. Here it is. No, not this one. I'm sorry. This one. Add to stage. Here we go. Let me make this bigger. Okay, so this is a funny video to watch. Maybe I should make that full. Okay, let me play this. So you can't read the text on the screen. Let me just tell you. So on the left, it says March 26, France. On the right is December 5th, 2018 in Portugal. So they were comparing his steps within 3 months? From December 5th, 2018 to March 26th. That's only 3 months. So they're comparing his gait. Let me start from the beginning. It's a close-up. This is in Morocco. This is when he sat down. This is a few months before. This is probably in Portugal. This is before. This is also before. This is how he used to walk. This is how he used to get up from from chairs.
She's a nurse. She's a
Okay. All right, let me come back. I thought that video was quite funny. All right, so yeah, Wall Street Journal wrote an article on that, and in its April 23rd, 2019 article, Wall Street Journal said the title is "Xi's Unsteady Steps Revive Worries Over Lack of Succession Plan in China," and speculation on Chinese leaders' health fuels concern about one-man rule. So that was that. Now, last October at the CCP's 20th National Congress, at the opening session, Xi Jinping delivered a nearly 2-hour report to the delegates. Foreign press noticed that he frequently coughed and stopped to drink water to clear his throat. At one point, he paused 3 times in 5 minutes, and some people compared his speech to the one he made 5 years ago at the 19th Party Congress in 2017, which was 3 hours long. But in 2017, he read from the beginning to the end without pausing to drink or to clear his throat. So this was widely reported in the West, including CNN. All right, am I allowed to take a sip? I don't think I have a health problem, but I'm thirsty. Okay, this feels good. Okay. Oh, this is funny. So at 70, it's inevitable that she might suffer from some conditions, and it's normal, right? So what could it be? What are the conditions he might be suffering from? People suspect that he has had a stroke. This is widely speculated by Chinese. Oops, sorry. So other than the times when he was spotted with that abnormal gait in France or in Europe, there were a few other circumstances later. Uh, this is in more recent years, in which he didn't appear very agile. So in June 2019, Xi Jinping attended Economic Forum August by the Russians, and he almost fell on the stage when trying to shake hands with people. Fortunately, the Russian bodyguards held him up. And also, when he visited Kazakhstan in September 2022, which was his first foreign trip after COVID, he also appeared to be he almost like tripped on the stairway when getting off the plane, but he then grabbed the bar, the handrails. And when he arrived at Johannesburg in South Africa this August, he also had a wobbly stride as he walked down the stairways. So let me play you the second video that captured those 3 events.
that yesterday the minister pointed out that much as South Africa gets in play,
People notice he walked diagonally.
but no friend is perfect, and I think that's the approach that no country is perfect. And
At that point, when I watched this video, I'm like, well, maybe some people just walk like that. Maybe he has fear of height. Maybe it's at night. I was just, trying to give him, some benefit of the doubt. But then look at how fast his bodyguard walked.
want to engage and change people, we have to talk to them.
Oh, sorry, it's replaying the video again. Okay, all right. So you be the judge. So did he walk slowly just because he walked like that, or was it abnormal? Um, People say it's abnormal because that's not how he used to walk. You've seen the video in the RFA, the Radio Free Asia video. He used to walk very fast. But what's revealing is that CCTV news footage cut out the part in which he descended the stairway in South Africa. Maybe they knew something and that we don't, and they don't want us to see it. So stroke is the first thing that came to mind, and that's what people suspect he was suffering from. And the second thing that people suspect that he's suffering from is what do you say? Is it gout? Gout. Gout. It's gout, right? Because of his love of alcohol. So Xi Jinping is known to be fond of the famous Chinese liquor Mao Tai, which is 100 proof hard liquor. Recently, a 2005 report about how Xi Jinping loves Mao Tai has been circulating on the internet. The article even quoted his secretary then, who is Li Keqiang, now the premier, as jokingly saying that Xi Jinping's good health came from drinking Mao Tai. And the chairman of the Mao Tai, the man who died in prison, the man who was given a life sentence in prison due to corruption, was his guest of honor at that event that the news report was about, right? So now, anyways, Xi's love of this hard liquor may have caused him some health issues, including gout. His drinking buddy, Yuan Hongbin, disclosed that when they were young, they used to each drink a bottle of Mao Tai, which is 500 millimeter. Think about it, 100 proof hard liquor. And if you drink 500 millimeter, I mean, it's what? It's 53% alcohol. That's like drinking 250 millimeter alcohol. I don't know if my math is right, but gout is a condition linked to alcohol consumption. So that's the second suspicion, a health problem that people suspect that he's suffering from. Now we can also take a look at the doctor who serves him to get an idea. I mentioned Central Healthcare Bureau, which is the organization directly responsible for his health, and it's managed by his top aide, Cai Qi, right? You know the guy who has become the number 2 guy in the CCP. Now, the Bureau has a number of deputies. The only deputy director who is a doctor is by the name Zheng Yixing. I have a picture of him. Let me send this. So here is Dr. Zheng Yixing. And let me make my... So Dr. Zheng, because he is the only physician that's on the management team of that bureau, and we know that bureau is responsible for his health. So people believe that Dr. Zheng is his chief physician. Um, it's not clear whether Dr. Zheng accompanies Xi on all of his foreign trips or major trips, but he did accompany Xi Jinping when he visited Hong Kong last July. It was Xi Jinping's first trip outside the mainland China, if you don't consider Hong Kong part of mainland China. That was his first trip after COVID, and he took Dr. Zheng with him. Now, Dr. Zheng was the director of Sun Yat-sen University's Cancer Prevention and Control Center, the director of the State Key Laboratory of Oncology in South China, the vice chairman of the China Anti-Cancer Association, and editor-in-chief of the journal Cancer. So here's the question. Why did Xi Jinping choose an oncologist to be in charge of his health? Was cancer a health concern for him? It's a good question, isn't it? Dr. Zheng Yixing is a doctor of clinical medicine. So he served as the president of Beijing Union Medical College and vice president of the Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences. In November 2015, he became the president of the Beijing Hospital, and he has served as a deputy director of the Central Healthcare Bureau since 2017. So he has been in that job for the past 6 years. 6 years. He was promoted to a full ministry level in May of last year, and people say he was given the recognition for having taken care of Xi Jinping's health. Okay, so that's what I want to tell you about his physician. Now let's talk about one very important aspect, Xi Jinping's mental health. So in democratic countries, the head of state has a support team, right? He relies on a group of experts, staff, and his cabinet to do the job. In communist China, Xi Jinping doesn't trust people easily. He has been consolidating power and is now so dominant that people under him are afraid to make decisions. So Xi Jinping is involved in all the decision makings, not to mention internal power struggles and external geopolitical crisis. The intensity of his work, just imagine, right, will take a toll on his health, particularly mental health. So Xi Jinping may appear to be the paramount leader with no opponent, but history shows that dictators often fall into a psychological dead end. That is, the more people are scared to oppose him, the more he suspects that everyone is lying to him. People around a dictator is scared, so they only say what he wants to hear. But the more they do this, the more suspicious the leader, the dictator, becomes. And it's a vicious cycle. So this is, I don't know if it can be called a dictator's paranoia. And they ultimately will believe that everyone is lying to them. Everyone is lying to him and wants to harm him. Mao Zedong was like that, right, before he was dying. And Xi Jinping, who's following in Mao's footsteps, will certainly suffer from the same psychological problem. So, for example, he's paranoid by the prophecies, the ancient prophecies left from Chinese history that he believes have predicted his downfall or death. And his massive cleansing of the rocket force is said to be related to this paranoia or fear of a coup. And another evidence that he's being mentally tormented is his constant lack of trust and suspicion is evident, but he's constantly going back and forth over issues. Like he will make 180-degree turns suddenly on something that totally contradicts himself, right? Or contradicts his previous policies. Like the draconian zero COVID suddenly ended with a 180-degree turn, with no preparation, no announcement. And his officials can be wolf warriors one day and waving an olive branch the next. Um, I think his stress and paranoia are likely the contributing factor, aside from CCP strategy or internal political struggle. People used to ask me this question: Why do they waver? Go back and forth, between like completely different policies. I gave two reasons. One is it's part of the strategy, just to confuse the opponent, and the second is it's as the result of internal political struggle. What we're seeing are signals sent from two factions. They don't come from one faction of the people. So the two factions may be sending conflicting signals or messages, and as they're fighting. So that's why we see mixed signals. And the third reason that I want to mention today, it could be his um, paranoia, fear, that resulted in this, lack of decision or going back and forth over issues. So I'm not a doctor, so I won't say what I'm not familiar with. But one thing I can say is um, Xi Jinping and the entire CCP institutional apparatus, or the entire CCP apparatus, is trying to help him to appear healthy and strong and unchallenged. But I think we can say that his health is worse than what meets the eyes. It's like the Chinese economy, right? It's like the real casualties of China's pandemic. There's so many things about China that that have this false appearance, the false phenomena of being healthy and being good, when we know the truth is far from that. So I don't know what exactly his health condition, his health problems are, but I know it's worse than, whether it's mental health or physical health, they are worse than what we see. They're worse than what they want us to believe. That I'm certain. Okay, so that's all for my part. And let me see if I can answer any questions. All right. Okay. Um, okay. Oh, good evening. I was reminded that one of my very loyal subscriber, I think his name is David Lopan. I think people were trying to tell me that he was returning to military services, and that was his last time joining my live stream. I feel so bad. I somehow didn't see the messages, and I felt so bad. So, and I haven't seen him on live streams yet. So, um, I think I'm grateful for what he does for this country. We should all be grateful for our servicemen. So, um, yeah. So I really feel bad that I missed the messages. I missed the chance of talking to him before he went. All right, let me see if people have questions for me. If you do, put my name in the front so I know it's addressed to me. Chinese pride, Lei is always awesome. Oh, I thank you for saying that. That's not how I feel, actually. Okay. Uh, hard not to be a bit of fanboy with Lei's thoughtfulness, hard work, and sincerity. Oh, thank you, Brian. Fanboy. Well, thank you. Boy at China. Lei, okay, all right, good. Thank you. All right. Let me see if people have questions. Okay. Oh, I need to take a sip of water. Am I allowed? Okay, feels good. Uh, okay, no questions for me. Okay, that's good. All right. uh, okay, there's some people who are upset with me. This DK person, Lei, the liar, has nothing else to do. Huh? Okay. I think I like your sense of humor, by the way. Okay, let's see. No questions. Okay, wow. I'm scrolling to the bottom. Jeff Ramos, what did Madame Mao did or accomplished in the month he governed? Oh, terrible things. I do want to tell you, since we're talking about, I wanted to tell you about the story in my last live stream when we discussed whether Li Keqiang was murdered or not, because there was a story when Mao was about to die. He died on September the 9th, 1976. And 2 months before that, another paramount leader of CCP, Zhu De, who was a military general, I think the most respected Chinese general, when they started the revolution, Zhu De's position within the CCP was higher than Mao Zedong. So he was 90 years old. He was older than Mao, but he was healthy. He was a healthy 90-year-old. But Mao was dying, and he knew he was dying. And so Zhu De died this very suspicious death, and many people suspect that Madame Mao had killed him because Madame Mao invited Zhu De and his wife to a dinner with Mao. And they prepared this dish, like one of the dishes that was Zhu De's favorite. And Madame Mao kept, you know how Chinese have the habit of like feeding you food, like they pick up food and put it on your plate. They have this, that's a Chinese hospitality. And so Madame Mao kept like piling up this cucumber dish on Zhu De's plate, kept asking him to eat that. Guess what? When they returned home, they started to have problem, GI problems. And Zhu De, and they want to send Zhu De to hospital. He told his wife, said, no, do not go to the hospital. You stay at home, because he knew going to the hospital is not a good thing for her, because the hospital is also controlled, or was controlled by the party. And he went and he died. He died. Now, after he died, rumor broke out that he was poisoned, right? He was poisoned by Madame Mao. So the commander of the Fujian military region, who was a commander, so he was a very high-ranking PLA officer. But this guy had fought with Zhu De for a long time, so he was very loyal to Zhu De. So he attended his funeral. He wanted to see the body. At the wake, and they didn't let him. So this guy, who's a general, he just rushed to the body, tore up his clothes and saw the body. And he saw that his body was all black. It was not the natural skin color. It was obviously, the result of poison. And he was so shocked to saw that his body was black, and then he didn't say anything. This guy died on his way back to Fujian. His airplane crashed. That's because he knew too much. So this story was widely told, but no one ever knew. But there was just this rumor that Madame Mao murdered Zhu De because, or Madame Mao and Chairman Mao, whether they were together, we don't know. Maybe both of them conspired this. But they knew Mao was dying, and they didn't want someone who's so respected, is still living happily and very healthy. So they didn't want him to take over, or at least if that guy take over, there's no chance for Madame Mao to have any power. So you asked me what did she do? Oh, I remember the story. Okay, so Ptolemy Salamanca, did she's daughter do government work or any administrative work, and could she be a possible successor? I don't think so. I don't think she even want to. Um, I don't think she's interested in doing that. Yeah. Boyka China, Lei is okay. Salute to you and David Lopan. Thank you. All right. I look like a lion today with my hair. I did a perm yesterday. It was wild when I came out. My hair, I had a head of curly hair. I didn't know what to do today. So a lioness. I feel like a lioness today because of this hair. Thank you for noticing that. Sumulant, Lei, DK thinks I was censoring him, but I wasn't until they were rude. So I put them on 1 minute timeout. I hope we don't have to ban them. You're doing okay. I agree with you. Put them on timeout. You know, I hope we don't have to ban them. But if they become, outrageous, we can ban them. I leave that decision to you. Okay, Simon Robinson, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. NTN, Lei, is it true that Li Keqiang was taken to a TCM? Oh, Li Keqiang was taken to a TCM specialized hospital rather than a Western. Yes, he was taken to this hospital that's affiliated with the Chinese traditional Chinese medicine. That's twice the distance than a hospital that has, that's a Western hospital, a hospital that has one of the best cardiology programs in Shanghai. That's half the distance. Like the hospital that has a great cardiology program was only 7 minutes away. This TCM hospital was 13 minutes away. So that raised a lot of questions. Why, right? Frank C.E. Lei, have you ever remembered any dictator in history who ever appointed a successor before his or her death? I can't remember anyone. Xi Jinping must be the same. They leave chaos behind. Well, Mao did. Mao Zedong did. Mao named 3 successors. He removed, he killed the first 2. The first 2 of his successors, right? Liu Shaoqi and Lin Biao. And then his last one was deposed by Deng Xiaoping. So Mao did name a successor for himself. Paula Gandolfo, how do the police officer feel about abusing? I don't need this. Abusing their fellow citizens. What's up with no women? Are the guys gonna war because there's no women? You mean Chinese police officers? I think the Chinese officers are just doing that to make a living, because they can't find a job if they quit their police job, and that's what's happening in China. Even government employees are required to take a pay cut now. All right. Let's see. Elizabeth Loveland, thank you. The marked puffiness in Xi's face, slow lumbering walk with feet outward like a duck, is common in patients with kidney disease, prostate disease, cancer, also common in prominent men his age. Okay, well, you did the diagnosis. No, I thank you for sharing your insight. I'm not a doctor, so I can only tell you what people are saying. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Naset Gnay. All right, do you think China would try to mediate Israel and Palestine and try to look like heroes after the US are the ones who calm down the Middle East when China is doing nothing right now. It's hard to say if China is doing nothing right now. CCP's strategy is it's going to create more chaos, right? It's going to stir up all the chaos. And then it's going to all of a sudden, put on a mask and try to be the peacemaker. Um, and when there's peace, it's trying to create the next round of chaos again. So it has been doing that for decades. Those of us who have lived in China, see that right through them. They've done this. That's their strategy. So don't be fooled. I don't think the West should be fooled. I'm not so sure if they're doing nothing right now. They will try to mediate, but the question is, will Israel listen to them? I think Israel by now have awakened, right, from this delusion that China was a friendly ally, or China was at least friend. I mean, I shouldn't say China, CCP, because Chinese, CCP does not. China and CCP aren't the same thing. All right, Wilson Dizard, what's your view of the accuracy of Mao, The Unknown Story? The book includes many anecdotes of premature death, but many people reject its accuracy. I have not read the book, so I can't say anything. Moonwalker Lei, as much as I want Xi out of the picture, I think people are exaggerating what they're seeing as wishful thinking, as more and more people want him dead. What do you think? I agree with you. That's why I take very cautious. I try to be. I try not to conclude things prematurely. I think you're right. Your observation is correct. I noticed this problem in many of the opinions expressed by people, and so you're right. I agree with you. But I also think that Xi Jinping has some health issues. I think he does. It may not be as bad as people claim he has, but he has some health problems. Bipolar disorder, somebody say. Nick Furry, what do you think of Xi's recent mandate of Chinese women to have babies? Oh. I mean, it's, the CCP has so many mandates. They have mandate to ask Chinese women to have babies. They have mandate. They have mandate that people should not. They force people to have confidence in China's stock market. Okay, in China's economy. But the thing with the stock market is you can't force people. It is what it is, right? I mean, the stock market is people's collective sentiment about the economy, drives the market. And the more you force people to act a certain way, or to force them to think something, the worse it is, because people are going to react. They don't understand. So I don't think CCP officials understand how stock markets work. They think by using administrative measures, by forcing people to believe in the stock market, they are actually going to believe in the stock market, and therefore the stock market will rise. It's the opposite. It doesn't work like that. The more fear you instill in people's minds, the more more reactive they will become, and then they're going to sell everything they hold. I mean, as simple as that, but I don't think they understand. The only thing they know is administrative measures, right? Mandate, policies. So yeah, it's quite unbelievable. So yeah, the more you ask Chinese women to have babies, the less likely they're going to have babies. Do you think people will have babies because the government tell them to? Do you think Chinese women will have babies when their CCP leader, tell them to have more babies? Come on. I think it will achieve the opposite result. Thank you. Oh yeah, somebody, Joanne Stanley Baker, is correcting my pronunciation. 是真，不是正. Yes, it's 真. Being a Southerner, the 卷舌音不是对我来说还是很 challenging 的. Pronouncing certain Chinese words is challenging to me. Like 真 and 真. Sometimes I'm still confused. All right. Okay. Um. Samtex 86. If she dies, do you think there will be any military coup, or will the military leaders throw their support behind one of the CCP leaders? Um, I think if that were to happen, or if that happens, there will be certainly a period of chaos in China. Um, but I think ultimately it's not up to what the military leaders will do. I think what will happen in China would depend on people's collective choice. Don't forget, I think we often, after this is the mistake Western politicians often make. They underestimate um, what the role of Chinese people will make in that decision process. It's ultimately up to what the Chinese people want. You know, I think the Chinese people may say, "Well, enough is enough." Um, why do we want to accept another military leader when he's just slightly better than the previous one? I think there will be some major changes in China. But it will be decided by the Chinese people. Um, Mitsu, thank you for covering this. Are you familiar with gaslighting? The CCP seems like the supreme gaslighter. Yeah, I've heard of it's a psychological term, right? Yeah, I agree. Okay. From Momo Chu, Lei, I sent questions earlier about your podcast uploads. Not sure if you saw them. I obviously have not. So if you have questions, you can send me emails. I have emails in like the descriptions of my uh, of my um, of my videos. So you can send me emails if you really have if you have questions for me, because sometimes it's hard to get every questions on my screen. All right. Somebody said, Lei, she's lack of strength could be the result of COVID. It could be. All right, let's see. From Wilson Dizzard, thank you for the donation. All right, from Momo Chu. Okay, here's the question. Finally, catching alive. Love the show and info. Two questions. You do lives get released late on podcasts? Yes, it's released on podcasts. Can you briefly state the content of this sub video for people who only have audio? Can you briefly state the content of sub videos for people who only have you mean, okay, if I do a video that has translation, people have told me that I should do a voiceover because they cannot hear the Chinese. So I should remember that. Thank you. Subtitles. Okay. All right. That seems to be all the question I get to the bottom. That's all for tonight. Angel, Lei, do you think the CCP is involved in the U.S. educational system? Do you think CCP is involved in the... Oh, yes, I think they are. I mean, the Confucius Institute has changed names. I think it's no longer called Confucius Institute, but they replace it with something else. And I have noticed that there are a massive number of Chinese educational organizations coming to the US offering kids, the teaching Chinese program, because there are a lot of how like Chinese American families want their children to learn Chinese growing up. So there are a lot of mainland Chinese programs that target them, and also some Western families, who want their children to learn Mandarin. All right. Catalpa Rescue. Watch the movie Gaslight. The movie is from 1944. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for the generous donation, and I'll remember the movie. All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lei. Thanks, everyone, for asking great questions, share information. All right. Thank you, Sumilan, for getting people organized. And I seriously thank you and thank everyone for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget, tomorrow is what? Is the end of daylight saving? We'll lose 1 hour. Okay. All righty. Bye-bye.